education with University. Yeah, I'm an assistant professor with University of Arkansas Little Rock. So that's located about roughly 2.5 hours to the north of where you guys will be visiting with the main campus, University of Arkansas Fayetteville. It's basically the capital city of Little Rock of Arkansas in the United States. About 6-hour drive from St. Louis, Missouri. And so I teach there. I also live a lot of the time in Florida because I'm a former high school teacher in Florida. And I own a house here and my father's here. So I'm with my father. My house that you see in the background is actually in Florida. But I specialize in English education as well as literacy education, the broad English and reading at University of Arkansas Little Rock. And I primarily do graduate courses as well as undergraduate courses. My primary work, more than anything, I joined the university in August 2019. My primary work has been at the graduate school, working with doctoral students, helping them finish their dissertations and helping with some reforms in the doctoral program. Although lately I have been getting a lot more involved in the undergraduate program of the full education too, because we need to do some reforms with the undergraduate too. So that's what I do. I'm primarily based in Little Rock, Arkansas with my work.
Yeah, that's really lovely and really amazing because it seems that you have worked in different capacities.
Almost too many. I mean, if you guys were to become professors, there's a pro and con to being as versatile as I am. I can do many different things. For instance, the university is able to use me as a professor of reading education, how to help prepare future teachers, how to teach reading instruction, literacy instruction, as well as English education, as well as things like foundations of education, philosophy of education, that sort of thing, and basic curriculum design, curriculum methods. And so they use me in a wide variety of capacities. But the trouble is that sometimes I have a hard time saying to my colleagues that I want to focus on one single thing. I want to have a single very focused track that I'm doing, because it actually damages your career if you're doing as many varied things as I am. It's more to my benefit if I were to have, for instance, let's say that if I say that I'm singularly focused on the doctoral program, that I'm directing the PhD reading program, which would be natural because I'm very involved in that. And all of my teaching, all of my service, and all of my research and scholarship is based around that program. Then that gives me a very focused career path. But on the other hand, if I'm also teaching a lot of classes at the master's level, as well as 2 classes per semester at the undergrad level, and some of these classes may be various different subject areas, English, reading, general curriculum and instruction, then that makes me so versatile that it's hard to have a focus, and I'm not able to plan a research direction around that when I don't know exactly what I'm going to be teaching one semester to the next. So versatility gives me job stability because I'm very valuable. They're going to have if I were to go to a different university, which I, to be honest, might, you can read between the lines with what I'm saying. If I were to go to another university, they would have a hard time replacing me because good luck finding someone who's as versatile as I am. But it's to your career advantage once you're a professor to have a singular focus, not to be as widespread.
Yeah, we do agree with you, whatever the views that you have expressed regarding the career. So we are so excited to ask a few questions. So before I let my participants to ask you a few questions, I would like to ask one question. So would you mind telling us about the current weather conditions prevailing in Arkansas?
Right now, I check the temperature, and you guys can hopefully do, because I'm American, so I'm going to give you Fahrenheit. You can always convert to Celsius.
Yeah.
Right now, I check the weather. It is 20 degrees Fahrenheit in Arkansas, which is cold. It's it's not bad. But I would recommend taking a winter coat, and I would recommend dressing for warm weather. They've had a little bit of snow, but not bad. Arkansas is the southwestern United States. It's not that far from. Think of the weather as, I don't know if this will make sense, but it's kind of in between Missouri and Texas. So you get cold weather, but you don't get horribly cold weather. The native Arkansas people will complain about being too cold. That's just because they're kind of wimps when it comes to cold. But I've moved around, so I can say that. But I would say dress for cold. It's not going to be. You might see a touch of snow, but not much. It's unlikely that you'll see snow because it really does not snow very much. And if it does snow, people panic there because they don't really know how to handle snow very well. But if you were to go there right now, it would be chilly, but not bad, and fairly mild. Arkansas has pretty mild weather. Occasionally a little bit of rain in the afternoons, but it's not bad. It's one of the milder states you can live in when it comes to temperature. It's a very easy state. Now, if you go, what time of year? Will you be there during the winter time, or what time will you be there during the year?
We will be there.
25th January.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
25th January, end of January.
Yeah, by January, I would expect it to be chilly. Dress for sweaters and jackets. But it's not going to be freezing. This is not New York City or Wyoming, or it's not one of the northern cities. It's going to be chilly but mild, and nothing scary. It's pretty mild weather.
So William, actually we are being a tropical dwellers because we are living in a tropical region in India. So where the temperature, we are so exposed to the temperatures around 50 and 60, because it's unusual for us to experience the snow in this part of India. So we have to equip ourselves with all sorts of the dressing code that you have just suggested us, that we have to carry a few warmer clothes and to suit that.
If I teach online, then I might not even be in Arkansas when you're there.
Yeah. So Radu sir, please go ahead and interact.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, once again, good morning to you. I hope it's morning to you in US.
It is. Good evening to you. Yes.
Yeah. So glad to interact with you. Actually, we are excited to meet a person who is from Arkansas and where we are going. So we feel that before going only we are interacting with you, and it will become very easy for us after reaching there. Sir, do we need to carry thermals there to wear? Thermals
flannel clothing?
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's going to be that cold. I mean, it depends on what you're used to. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that since you're used to tropical weather, it might feel like you need flannels to you, depending on how, because everything is relative. Because remember, I've lived all over the place. So for me, I'm used to colder weather because I used to live in St. Louis, Missouri, as well as Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. To me, I do not need flannel clothing. But you coming from the tropicals, it's possible you might be glad for it, because it will be much colder than you're used to.
Yes, sir. It's true. Sir, could you please enlighten the precautions we have to take, because
that would be good.
Yeah.
So is it enough?
That should be enough. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sir, could you please tell us some precautions we have to take since we are going to another country, what are the precautions we have to take? Is there anything we have to be careful about in that particular place?
Um, I would say when it comes to COVID-19, for instance, Arkansas people
Yeah.
are, I'm going to go ahead and say this. You're going to a very, I don't know how far, some of the language I'm going to be using is politically coded, so I'm not sure if this will make sense or not. Arkansas is very conservative. It is very Republican, and you're going into Trump country, Donald Trump, which means that a lot of the a lot of the university people you'll be interacting with are well educated and they respect science, but a lot of the people around the area do not. They reject science and they reject intelligence, to be very honest. And so you're gonna, there is, I think, a widespread of COVID-19 in Arkansas. I would recommend wearing double masks, and I would recommend caution when you go out in public, and I would recommend making sure that you've had at least your 2 shots and ideally have your booster with the COVID-19 because the Omicron virus is spreading. I do not see many people wearing masks. In fact, a lot of people in Arkansas reject the idea that COVID-19 is real. Because Donald Trump does not, he in the past did not want people to believe that COVID-19 is real. And there are a lot of Republicans here in the United States that reject the idea that COVID-19 is a real thing. They think it's an invention of Democrats. As weird as that sounds, there's a lot of conspiracy radio. So I would say be very cautious about the virus because it is probably spreading much faster than people are even aware of it, because people are not getting tested. They're not getting their shots the way they're supposed to. And they're probably, as you know, you could spread the virus without even having symptoms. And so I would recommend caution. I would also recommend watch the news a little bit, because Arkansas, the university people you're going to be interacting with are intelligent. They're not going to be bigots. But you do have some bigotry and racism in Arkansas. Arkansas has a reputation for racism. And so if there is negative news related to India, and or for that matter, obviously you guys are not in the least Chinese, but some bigots are stupid. They might confuse you for Chinese, even though you're not Chinese, because bigots are known for being stupid. but I mean, it's and here in the United States, people blame Chinese/Asian people for coronavirus. At least the conservatives do. They call it the China virus. And so it's possible that I would recommend avoiding parts of the town where you're more likely to find stupid white people. Ignorant racist white people that are likely to be racist. So be careful about that a little bit. But that's, I mean, you guys are Fulbright scholars. You're probably not going to be wandering into those parts of towns and having those types of dialogues anyway. With the type of people you'll be around, I think you're fine. I don't think that sort of thing I don't think you'll even be exposed to any of that stuff with the type of people you'll be around, because they're going to take careful care of you, and the people you'll be interacting with won't have any of that. You were asking me about the food earlier. There are restaurants around there that serve India food. How authentic they are, I do not get the impression that they're very authentic. Now I enjoy them. I find good flavoring there. It's possible that if you get talking with a waiter or waitress or maybe the manager there, and you speak non-English to that person, so they know that you're not from the United States, you might be able to get the authentic secret menu that Americans don't get. A lot of restaurants here, a lot of the restaurants here in the United States do that. For instance, I was married to, and unfortunately I'm divorced now, but I was married to a Chinese woman. And the same thing probably applies to the restaurants you guys want to eat at with India food. Chinese restaurants here in America, at least the more popular ones, tend to serve non-authentic food and very bland and very Americanized food to white people like me. But if you know how to ask for the real thing, they also serve the real thing. You just have to know how to look for it, and you have to know how to ask for it. And she trained me to know how to do that. And I would say it's probably the same thing for you guys too. And normally, I'm sure you guys know how to look for pictures on the menu, look for cues. I'm sure that, for instance, the larger chain restaurants are probably, that serve a larger chain India food, they're probably not going to be very authentic. But if you go to a smaller family-run restaurant, and if you look for instance, writing on the menu that's not English, for instance, I'm sure you can find the authentic thing. But my experience has been that it's the smaller restaurants, the family-run restaurants, that are more likely to be authentic than the larger ones.
William, how is the Indian population nearby the Arkansas, and do you think that the Indian population is still exist in that part?
I would say it's very low. I would say it's a very small population. You will find a pocket near the university, because there are some high-tech aspects of the University of Arkansas. I mean, you look at you guys, Fulbright, you're going to find some people with masters, PhDs that are Indian in that area, and you can find that. As far as the more non-elite type of population, I consider it small. I have not seen much.
Okay.
It's there, but it's small.
So one more question actually I would like to ask, and I heard that one particular color is not suitable to wear in USA. I heard that pink color, I think, is not suggestible to wear. So what color, clothes you would suggest us to wear?
I would say don't worry too much about the colors. The reason you heard about the pink is that in old-fashioned United States, pink was associated with women. And so a lot of men in old-fashioned United States did not like wearing pink, but that has changed over the years. I wear pink, for instance, sometimes. In fact, I've had people compliment me saying that I look better in pink than I do in, let's say, black or whatever. So, I mean, I would say wear anything you want. The color is not. The color is not. It's not as big a deal as it probably used to be. But in 1950s, 1960s United States, pink used to be associated with feminine, and it used to be associated. Honestly, if you saw a man wearing pink in the 1950s United States or 1960s or even 1980s, you might tend to assume that the man is gay. But that has changed over the years. We're getting better these days.
Yeah. So, William, we have another participant, and his name is Vijay Kumar, and he will be visiting Florida University. Vijay Kumar, sir, please interact with sir. Sir, unmute your microphone.
Hello, William sir. Good morning to.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
This is it's good evening at my place, and this is a hilly area, and now I am sitting in front of a heater. You can see.
Yes.
And first of all, I will thank to you and Patracharu sir he has arranged this wonderful meeting with you, and it's our honor. We are going to the country first time in life, and I am visiting any country in my life first time, and it's my uh, wonderful experience. I would have a chance to visit to United States of America. I would like to ask which type of weather at my university, as Patracharu sir said, uh, I have to visit Florida Gulf Coast University.
Okay.
Yes.
I would say it's going to be much more similar to the type of weather you're accustomed to than Arkansas would be. Florida is subtropical, and so it's much warmer. For instance, since you'll be there in January, I would say that if you were to do the conversion on your computer from Fahrenheit to Celsius, I would say expect weather somewhere in the 60s to 70s Fahrenheit. And I would say expect sunny weather. It's definitely not going to snow. It never snows in Florida. Well, extremely rare. And it's going to be very pleasant. I at most take a light sweater, but I do not expect that you will need winter clothing.
Okay.
Unless you're very, very accustomed to warmth. And at most it might get a little bit chilly at night, but it's very pleasant in Florida in the wintertime. In fact, a lot of people like to visit Florida for the sake of getting away from the Arkansas type cold. Arkansas people envy me because I have a home in Florida. Arkansas people envy me because they associate me with getting away from the cold and getting to the warmth.
Okay. It means I need only mild sweater. It's and maybe temperature between 25 to 30 degrees Celsius.
I would say probably yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it will be very pleasant environment maybe in that.
Yeah, well, to
in
give you
those
an
days.
idea, I live not my house where I'm speaking to you from. It's in Central Florida. It's not that far from. It's actually a little bit north of Florida Gulf Coast. Right now, it is. I'm checking the weather right now. Right now, it is 61 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can do the math. And that is at 80, and that's at 9 a.m. in the morning. It's going to get warmer later in the day. So that gives you an idea of what kind of weather to expect. It's actually, I've been walking around in shorts throughout my time in Florida, and it's Christmas time. I spent Christmas Day in shorts and a short sleeve shirt. I have not needed to wear a sweater once.
But you are used to that environment, but we are not. But my place is not so cold. Only 2 to 3 months the temperature goes down up to 10 degree, maybe in the night 4 to 5 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
But this is the northern state of India, and in the May and end of June, maybe temperature rise up to 50 degrees Celsius.
Okay. I would say it's very similar. Florida, during the summertime, Florida gets very hot. I would say, but during January, I think you'll find the weather probably very similar to what you're used to. Yeah, I really think so. I mean, to give you an idea, my now ex-wife was from North Central China, Zhengzhou, China. She used to complain about Florida because she considered Florida too hot and too humid. So that gives you an idea. She compared the temperature. Well, her comparison was she used to compare Central Florida to more like, let's say, Vietnam than China. So my experience has been that people who are used to tropical type weather, they struggle with Arkansas a little bit. They really struggle as you go further north to, let's say, Idaho type things or California, but they tend to like Florida because Florida is subtropical.
Yes, sir. And another thing is the main thing. How many peoples of Indian origins are lived in Florida?
Significantly more than Arkansas.
Okay.
Florida is diverse in population. So you have a significant number of Chinese, Indian, Black. You've got people from all over the place.
Okay.
It's significantly more diverse. Now, as in any part of the United States, I would say that you're going to find the more well-educated Indian people located near the university with university type jobs. Florida Gulf Coast University, it's not as high an Indian population as some areas in Florida. But for instance, Orlando, where I live, Orlando has a higher Indian population than Florida Gulf Coast does.
Okay.
But if you get into Tampa, then you're going to find a larger population. You generally speaking find a higher Indian population when you get into the metropolitan cities. When you get more rural, you find a lower Indian population.
And the main important things for Indian, the food.
I'd say you have a much higher chance of finding authentic Indian food in Florida Gulf Coast than you do with Arkansas, because it does have a higher Indian population generally. Now, Florida Gulf Coast, like I said, the more you get toward the cities, the more a metropolitan region, the more likely you are to find something authentic. You're very unlikely to find something authentic in the rural part. And Arkansas tends to be rural with your colleagues. So that's one reason why you get into that. I would say, like you overheard me saying to your colleagues, I'm sure you know how to look for the menu to be written partly in non-English in order to find authentic. I would say stay away from the chain restaurants because you'll find a lot of chain restaurants, big corporate chains. You'll find a lot of corporate chains that make a lot of money selling Indian food that is very Americanized. You're probably going to find it by comparison pretty bland. So I would say those chain restaurants, those big corporate chains that are sold with branches across the United States, you're going to find that to be very Americanized and very bland by comparison to what you're accustomed to. It's going to be kind of Indian food-ish, if you know what I mean. But if you find a small family-owned type restaurant from someone who is a first or second generation immigrant, for instance, that's the type of restaurant I look for when I'm wanting to find something authentic. I'm sure you know what to look for.
Thank you.
Sir,
And yes.
Vijay Kumar sir, actually, you are so lucky enough in terms of food, in terms of weather, and lucky.
It may be. But sir, I know always we say there is something in hidden power around the world which look after all the creature of this world. And because I am saying because I have some digestion problem. And sometime now I am taking meal only 2 times a day because of some digestion problem. So it means ki God has set for me a convenience place for me
Mhm.
in America also. So that's why, sir, one another thing I would like to ask. Florida is a, I think I have saw the Google map. This is coastal, situated at coastal areas. And
Yes.
is there a rainy season? Yeah, oftenly rain has oftenly occurred during the days. Is there any symptom of that?
Not in January, not when you'll be there. The rainy season in Florida is during the summertime. So July, June, and August is when it gets really rainy in Florida. So you'll be missing that. It tends to get very wet and rainy during the summer months.
Okay.
Raju
So
sir.
total, I can say
Yes, sir.
it is all about. It is everything is okay and fine.
Yeah, everything's
Yeah.
fine. And honestly, Tallahassee is, it's not a big city, but it's a lot more metropolitan than, well, actually Florida Gulf Coast. Sorry, I was getting two different things mixed up. But Florida Gulf Coast, you're located in a better area for what you want, for avoiding prejudice and all that stuff. You're located in a better area than Arkansas. So the type of warnings that I was giving your colleagues, I don't think you have to worry as much about that with Florida Gulf Coast as your colleagues do. But as usual, I'm sure that you've got hosts that you'll be working with, and I'm sure that you've got colleagues at the universities you'll be working with. Let your colleagues guide you, because they'll know where to go and where not to go, type of things. But Florida is much better when it comes to racism and prejudice than Arkansas is.
Yeah. So William, would you mind reconnect again one more time, because right now I'm trying the free Zoom version. So I think this Zoom version will end any time from now. So would you mind reconnect the same link so that we have a few set of questions regarding our region?
Okay.
So would you mind sparing a few minutes for us?
Sure, I'll just hang around. No problem.
Thank you so much. And my dear friends, Raju Garu, Vijay Kumar Garu,
Yeah.
please
Yes, sir.
rejoin again one more time.
Okay.
So that
Yes, sir.
we have to explore a few more facts from our guest.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
sir.
Okay.